Hey, this
Uh,
is Justin.
this is Brandon.
Welcome to the Brandon and Justin Show.
So
All
what's on
right,
the
what's on the menu? We are talking about Sasquatch. We're talking about UFOs, uh, and who knows? God knows what else.
talking about
Um,
the big nine?
all right. So first topic: Sasquatch. Opinions and
Uh,
thoughts, articles, you name it.
so Sasquatch goes by many names, and the
In the
current
hill.
Bigfoot craze that we're experiencing now took off in the mid to late 1950s. Um, Yeti is sometimes called the abominable snowman. Skunk ape, and that's from Florida. So we have the Yowie, which comes from Australia. Almas, which comes from Mongolia. And then the Grassman, which is pretty interesting. The Ohio Grassman is believed to be a Bigfoot existing in a specific niche and surviving in the rich, fertile farmland of Ohio. Ohio may not seem like an ideal Bigfoot habitat if you are fixated on the idea that only Sasquatches can exist in America is in the Pacific Northwest. But in fact, the beast has been spotted in every state in the continental United States. So I'm saying from West Coast to East Coast, from Maine down to Florida. So um, they have a bunch of it's a whole race of them, man. It's like different ones, big ones, skinny ones, short ones, fat ones, hairy ones, not so hairy ones. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when I was growing up, I remember, my step grandfather. He's from California. He's from Northern California. His first name's William. My dad's name's William. Um, and anyway, so he told me about Bigfoot, and he used to go in the hills of California, and they used to go up in the woods. Him and his two brothers. And they used to look for him and all that stuff. And I did a lot of research over the years. He said he never saw a sighting, but I've heard of a lot of sightings. There's been you know hundreds, and as far as the documentary, I think back in 2019 I watched from History Channel. From what I gathered, the craziest story was that UFOs, aliens, ancient aliens came down here and they used multiple Bigfoots. There was more than one. There was lots of them, and they bred them. Um, and they used them to mine natural resources and gold from planet Earth. So, as wild as a story that is it possible? I mean, something like that could have taken place, or it could be completely bogus. But I mean, who knows? But
It's very
might
interesting.
it is. Regardless, yeah, it's interesting. That's for sure.
Speaking of a Bigfoot encounter, um, I have a sort of a run-in with the skunk ape down in Florida. I used to live down there when I don't know, I was probably 13 at the time.
Hmm.
My uncle and I would go on these camping expeditions. Um, and they have these barrier islands down south Florida, Inglewood, Venice Beach, sort of down that way towards down sort down south, way past Tarpon, um, Inglewood area. And we would go down there, would drive down there, and then we would stop, get all of our kayaks together, and we would paddle. And this shit would take hours to get there. But it's super beautiful back there, and the little inlets and the channels that go back, like mangroves overneath the water. It's like you're going under a bridge of trees. Well,
Right.
we were going camping, and we made our way to the island, and we were taking the back way, one of the inlets. My uncle was like, "You smell that?" I was like, "No, I don't really smell that. I don't smell anything." He's like, "You don't smell that musty smell, like a wet dog kind of smell." And we're out in the middle of nowhere. Like, nobody is where we're at. That's where we're at. We're way the fuck out there, dude. So I kind of shove it off, put it to the back of my mind. I keep going. We make it to where we're camping at, set up camp, make dinner and whatnot, go to sleep. Well, in the middle of the night, I hear a pow. Like, if you pull a rope and you pull it and stretch it to the point where it fucking snaps, that's the sound I'm talking about. And we had tied up our kayaks, so when the tide rose and fell, we wouldn't lose our kayaks. And I heard something scratching on the tent. I looked over because I thought it was my uncle trying to mess with me. He's dead asleep. I'm like, uh-oh. I see this outline of a shadow on the back side of the tent, and it makes its way around. I get a whiff of like it's like a musty, like a spongent smell that's like kind of undescribable. It's like best thing I could say is like a wet dog, but not. It's really. But anyways, I said I heard the scratching on the tent, and next morning I fell back asleep. I finally just scared myself back to sleep. Woke up the next morning, our damn kayak rope was snapped, pulled all the way up by the tent, behind the tent, and there was these huge footprints all around the tent from where we had left our damn kayaks at. You see where it drug, and then there was a spot where it like kind of kneeled right in front of the tent. And I didn't really want to tell anybody that story, and because I was like, didn't want anybody to think I was crazy, but I mean, it really seriously happened. I believe in Bigfoot. A lot of people don't. There are a lot of people. That a guy actually came out and said that he hoaxed a lot of these Bigfoot prints back when it first started coming out in the early 50s in the Pacific Northwest. He came out and said, "Yeah, I made these plaster of Paris casts, molds, and I would go out in the dead of night and I would put them in the woods and space them out like it was the real thing." But there's definitely something out there that
if they existed for, I mean, if it was 100% positive, if we had proof, I believe that the government would they would not allow us to know about something like that. They would completely secure that site off. And if they captured something like that and he did exist, if one did exist, my best bet is they would probably kill it and take it to a facility, and then they would have some doctors cut it open. What's it made of? How does the body function? And save, I guess, put organs on ice and do a lot of cutting and samples and studying and blood tests, you name it, DNA. Can it be cloned? I mean, there ain't no telling what they would do with something like that, if that was possible, if they did exist at one point in time or do exist. That's fucking gnarly, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, dog, that's crazy. Like, dude, to actually think that if one really existed, like you got millions of people that's heard, like there's 6 billion people on the planet. You know what I'm saying? So all these people have heard stories about it, but to put it live on CNN, it's like, yeah, we got one. Like we'll never see it. It'll never happen. We shot down supposedly a UFO and they put that on CNN over a week ago. But it's but it's like, well, let us see the evidence. Put it in a museum so we can see it or something. Make it viewable to the public. Unfortunately, they're just never going to do that. But I think anything's possible. I think anything is possible.
Yeah.
I really do.
Well, have you heard about the giant of Kandahar?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so
I haven't.
Back in 2002, when we did Iraqi freedom, or it might have been before or after. Anyways, we took a campaign to Afghanistan, and they were on patrol in the mountains, and they came across this huge giant that speared a soldier with the tip of his spear.
Right.
And they unloaded everything they had in this guy, and it barely killed him. It took him, but supposedly we killed like an actual 15-foot giant human being. And there, it's crazy. It giants touch on Nephilim, which is like fallen angels mated with human beings that make this race of superhumans. Throughout history, you could have, in the early 1800s, they would report about it, and slowly but surely the government covered it up and hid it and pushed it back. But all throughout history, there's been news after news story about these giants living among us, and for some reason they keep it hidden from the general public.
Yeah. That reminds me when you're talking about superhumans and 15 foot tall, of Prometheus. That's a huge movie. That's a badass movie. And getting into our next episode, we'll be talking about UFOs. So, Brandon, love you, brother.
Love you, man.
Everybody who's watching, thank you to the viewers, and we'll be seeing you shortly with the next episode. You can go down to the bottom of the screen and click like the Brandon and Justice Show. Two brothers.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.